appreciate it. All right, so we've been waiting to meet you. And right now you're seated, you're ready. Let's hit the road. Let's meet you officially.
My name is Obunike Ohaegbu. I'm a lawyer by profession.
Mm,
I stay in Abuja. I'm the
okay,
principal partner, Sinfield Associates.
okay.
Law
All
firm
right, for
based.
those who will be wondering who's on the seat today, well, it's Lydia Odade, and the guest for today is Obunike Ohaegbu Esquire. And for this session, we have to look at the life, the goals, and aspirations of this very wonderful guest of ours, Ohaegbu Obunike Esquire. And he's so willing to talk to us. All right, so you've told us your name. Let's look at you. How have you been?
What?
Can you hear
So
me?
I can hear you, but I didn't get your question correctly.
Okay. All right. So you are a barrister. And of course, before you got to this position where you became the barrister, there is a procedure. So let's get to meet that procedure. Tell us about yourself totally.
Well, as I said earlier, my name is Obunike Ohaegbu. I'm from
Mm-hmm.
Nnewi. I'm from Opo. Opo is the headquarters of Nnewi South Local Government in Anambra State, Anambra South Senatorial Zone in Anambra State. My late father
All
was
right.
Mr. My late father was Mr. Simon Ohaegbu, and my
All right.
mother is Mrs. Philomena Ohaegbu. I
Mm.
am the only surviving child of my parents out of 3 siblings.
Wow.
My father was an entrepreneur,
Okay.
and he was equally a veteran of the Biafran War.
Mm.
My paternal grandmother gave me the name Obunike,
Okay.
reflecting the extremely lucky survival stories of my father during the Civil War and the peculiar circumstances of my birth. Unfortunately, my father died barely 18 months. I was 18 months old when my father
After your
died.
birth.
Yes. My father was known for hard work,
Oh.
honesty, discipline. You know,
Uh,
he lived an exemplary life. Of course, nobody will tell less about his father, so I wouldn't want to go more into that.
mm.
When my father died,
Okay.
my mother was a petty trader with just primary school certificate. But after the death of my father, uh, she realized that she had to, go further in her education. She was lucky. She eventually got a teaching appointment after doing some academic work. In 2008, she retired as a headmistress.
Okay.
Of course, because my mother had to, pursue her academic work after the death of my father, I had to stay with my grandmother. I lived with my grandmother. My grandmother she was Ozeme Mokumba. She was married to Mokumba, but she was from Darana, Kenya, of former family in Umuna and Nevi. Nevi
Okay.
is Nevi is the headquarters and the only town in Nevi North local government, still in Anambra South. I began my primary school education at the community primary school. And
Okay.
from there, I went to secondary school, community secondary school for my junior
Okay.
secondary
Just
education.
just before you travel far into the educational part of you, you said you had to stay with your grandma growing up while your mother was pursuing her career in education. How did this affect you, having to stay with your grandmother and not your mother?
Well, one thing about the village community is that usually the community brings up the child. So
Mm-hmm.
you find out that that was the only thing I knew. So I didn't try the other part. If I had stayed with my mother and then eventually stayed with my grandmother, I would have been in a position to compare notes. But I think
Okay.
I had a fantastic childhood. Although eventually when my mother came back, when she finished her academics, she's a very hardworking woman. I'm proud of her. To augment what she was getting as a salary as a primary school teacher, we had to run will I call it a restaurant or a bar, where I was even as young as 8, 10. I was the one managing I was really involved in, the sales and all that. And at a very tender age, I was even riding my mother's motorcycle from Mafu or from Muko to Ibuku, a neighboring town, not too far from our area. At some point, we go to Neu to buy chicken, and we were fully into that business. I joined my mom when she returned from her, academic sojourns.
Okay. All right. So,
So,
let's travel back to your academic.
so I said I did my my junior secondary school in community secondary school, and when I finished my junior secondary school in 1990, I moved down to Okong Memorial Grammar School for my senior secondary education. I started for my senior secondary school certificate education in 1992. In 1993, I was privileged to get admission into Nandas University, and I was admitted to read law, which was actually a very, considering my background, where I was coming from, was really a privilege. And at that time, there was something late J.O.B. He was giving opportunities to children then, and I was privileged to be considered the best from Ubas at that time in terms of my SSCE certificate and my JAM results, and I got a scholarship with other benefits for having an outstanding SSCE exam, and it was giving us a token of 5,000 naira then every Easter annually, and was going to federal university. Then was enough to pay the school fees, although we usually pay school fees in September. But it was quite a privilege, in addition to having the scholarship.
Hello, are you there?
Yes, I'm with you. Are you with me?
Yes, very clear.
So I studied law in Nandas University. In all these years, I was a local boy, I did my primary school. I lived in Obo in Anambra State. Did my primary school in Obo in Anambra State. It was just the secondary school, the senior secondary school that took me to Okong.
Took you out.
Yeah, and Okong was considered because my grandmother was from Umudim, so and Okong was in Umudim, and we had some families around there. So that was the reason for the choice of Okong. And before I moved down to, in 1999, I graduated from Nandas University, got admission, and on January 20th, 2001, I was called to the Nigerian bar and I became a barrister and solicitor of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. Considering my background, and I felt the desire to, study more, having spent all my life in the village. So when I started my national youth service in the National Assembly, at some point, I think it was a bit boring for me because for core members then, they were not really giving, depending on the committee you were posted to. I was posted to the house services and I was not getting the drive, the challenges I was looking for, because I had to go to Lagos. I sought for the deployment. I was deployed to Lagos. I was supposed to start with Ganify with me. He was not in travel to London at that point. With pressure from NYC, I had to get a place of primary assignment. Okay. Fortunately for me, I was lucky, and Professor Skemo, quite a young guy, as at that time he just opened the chambers, and he considered me worthy to conclude my service here, which I'm still eternally grateful to him now. And I concluded my service in Professor Skemo chambers. we were able to flow well because during my days in the university, of course, I was a national coordinator, National Conscience Party, the UNIZIC coordinator for National Conscience Party. In fact, I was in Lagos when we launched the National Conscience Party. I'm trying for you to have an idea of my background. I was the coordinator of Amnesty International in the university, and
wow.
quite involved in quite a number of human rights activities. And during the Abacha days, those days, we were always there on the road, agitating for the right things to be done. In fact, it was my activity. It was my activities as a second-year student in the university. I was returned unopposed as the Assistant Secretary General of the Law Students Association, and I'm not sure it ever happened before then, and I wouldn't know if it's happening now. In my third year, I was returned unopposed again as the Secretary General of Law Students Association, Nandes University chapter. And having served as the Secretary General, I felt I should go for the big one. I ran for the Students' Union government. So many things happened, and I eventually became the Attorney General of the Students' Union government. And I thank God for those, for those opportunities and privileges. And we did a lot of things in the Students' Union government judiciary, and I'm sure the people that our successors are proud of what we did, and quite a number of them
Obviously, because it's been a journey.
After my service after my national youth service in 2002, I moved down to Brussels, University of Brussels, where I did my first master's on international legal cooperation in Brussels. Self-financed, self-funded. When I came back, because of I was trying to prepare to move into the normal life. I felt that coming from the area where our people are mercantile oriented, our people are businessmen. I felt that I needed something that has to do with what my people do. So I had to go back to London in 2005, where I did my second master's on international trade law in the United Kingdom. It was the University of Wales program, although I did it with Open College in London. The university then was in East London. So when I concluded with my program on international trade law in 2007, in October 2007, I had an offer. Of course, I had opportunities, and I had the fact then there was a program in UK where, if you conclude your program, you opportunity to have 1 year and all that. I got that. In December, October, I got that. I got my ticket to come back to Nigeria to start work in 2007 as the senior legislative aide in the National Assembly. I went back to the National Assembly as a senior legislative aide. And in 2011, the tenure lapsed, and on May 14th, 2012, as God will have it, I was privileged to be sworn in. Are you still with me?
Yes.
So I was privileged to be sworn in with 36 others by the then chairman of the National Assembly and senior president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Dr. David Mark, GCON, as the Federal Commissioner, Public Complaints Commission, the Ombudsman. And I was made to be in charge of the Federal Capital Territory. And I was the pioneer commissioner for FCT. I wouldn't want to talk much about my impacts in the FCT and considering my background, of course, fighting for the downtrodden. Presidents in FCT was like, it was something I was always excited doing, and I made sure I did my best. I set a standard there, and I'm proud of what I did there. So today, I am a lawyer. You can call me a seasoned lawyer. I'm about 20 years post-call now, and I'm the principal partner with Sinfil Associates. the Villa Associates is a firm of lawyers in Abuja. I'm currently doing a doctorate degree with the University of Abuja. And I've got an offer to do another master's with another university. I'm not registered, so I forgot to mention in 2014, I ran a program with the Center for Peace, Democracy and Development of the University of Massachusetts. And the program was on effective use of negotiation, consensus building, and collaborative processes. Hello? 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 Have I lost you? Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Is there an interruption? Hello.
I'm here.
I think there's an interruption in the conversation. Chief Obunike Ohaegbu Esquire. I understand there is an interruption in the discussion.
Okay, I'm here.
Okay. Angel Lydia is coming in back now. I think she's restarting her audio. I think I'll have to edit out the little breakdown. Okay, she's in now. Yes, Angel, continue.
Yes, I'm right. I apologize for that hitch. It just happens with our signals, but we're back. All right, so we do apologize for that hitch, please. Can you hear me?
Thank you for coming back, because I was scared that I had to continue. I was scared I had to continue with Daniel, and your voice was like singing, so I'm more comfortable to continue on that with you.
Oh,
with Barrister Lumba.
Oh, I apologize, please. And thank you so much, Barrister, for stepping in. Can you hear me clearly?
Loud and clear.
All right. So let's continue. You've given us a rundown of yourself, your life, and how you moved on to school in London in 2005, where you studied international trade law. Are you there?
Yeah, I said in 2005, I was in London to study international trade law. Then in 2007, I came back to Nigeria and I started work as senior legislative aide in the National Assembly. It's a member that represented us in the House of Reps. I was his senior legislative aide till 2011. Did you get that?
Yes, yes, very well.
And I only said that on May 14th, 2012, it was a privilege that I was sworn in with 36 others as the Federal Commissioner Public Complaints Commission, and I was meant to be in charge of the FCT. And in fact, I'm the Pioneer Commissioner Public Complaints Commission, FCT.
Okay, talking about Pioneer Commissioner, let's look at that. What was it like being a Pioneer Commissioner for the FCT Public Complaints Commission?
You see, if you have listened to the background, how I started and all that, it was actually a fantastic way. I provided a platform for the downtrodden. I was privileged to. It was like I had a lot of work to do because before then, the FCT PCC was being manned by civil servants. So I was the Pioneer Commissioner, and I had enormous work to do. I had to let the residents know of what Public Complaints Commission was all about. I had to let Nigerians know who are residents in the FCT to know what PCC was all about, and I set up the platform. A lot of people, as at that time, in all the general hospitals in FCT, I made sure I had a collaboration with an NGO. They provided me with boxes. All the public hospitals in FCT, we had our complaint box there. We were always going there. We were picking letters and we were addressing issues the complaints that were made to us. In all the palaces in FCT, public places in FCT. I did the enlightenment campaign. I reached out to everybody within the FCT, all the institutions within the FCT. And, it was a try. It was the tax was quite huge, but I thank God that we did well. I've been privileged to, I've received some awards. I'm opportune to be a Knight of St. John Catholic Church. The Catholic Women Organization, despite the fact that my mom, the Catholic Diocese of Nnewi, despite that my mom was their member, and gave me a meritorious award of patron, and even in the Catholic Women Organization, St. Lawrence in Lagos, they did the same. On 5th December 2012, the Anambra State Townspeople Association, if you understand how massive the association is in FCT and their procedure for making nomination, you will understand how I'm appreciative of the fact that they considered me for merit award on 5th December 2014. And a lot of awards from churches and other organizations that commended my efforts and appreciated me. And in my community, considering my background, I eventually grew up to take the other title. I took the other title of Dara Nwachinemere. My other title is Dara and Nwachinemere.
Wow.
The traditional ruler of my community, His Royal Majesty Dr. Felix Oyemadu, Knight KSJI, is Igwe of football, honored and enrolled me as a High Chief as a Snachino in 2017.
Okay, just before you go to that part of your interaction, what is the meaning of the title that you were given?
I said, I took also title myself as Dara Nwachinemere.
The Dara?
Our traditional ruler gave me the title in 2017 as a High Chief that made me a High Chief of my community as a Sinachi. Eze Sinachi. I'm sure you should
Okay,
understand that.
yes, I do
And I'm
understand that,
still,
but you might want to translate that for non-Igbo listeners and viewers.
okay, Eze Sinachi means that, King Chief is from God.
Okay, people, you to get that right now. Can you
So,
hear me? Are you still there?
yes,
All right.
and as of today, for some years now, I've been privileged to be a senior member of the Igwes cabinet of my community. And if you understand what it means, it's a privileged position, and I'm still grateful to my community. I'm grateful to His Royal Majesty to have considered me for such position in the community. It comes with enormous responsibility considering the age I was at the time I was, given such responsibility, and I'm grateful to him. And I'm here doing my legal practice, and by the grace of God, I will offer myself to India Anambra to see if they will consider hiring me as their chief executive uh, for 4 years in 2021.
Hello.
Hello.
You said you were thinking if they would consider giving you or hiring you
Yeah, I
as.
said, having said, you know, I've told you my background, and I said what I
Yes,
look
very
forward
clear.
to now, what occupies my mind now is my hope and prayer that in the year 2021, next year, India Anambra may look at me and the plans I have for Anambra State and consider hiring me to be their chief servant.
Wow. This is getting interesting, people. Just in case you're joining us, you just might want to know what we've been talking about. We've got Obunike Ohaegbu Esquire right here talking to us about his life, his goals, and his aspirations. And of course, it's Lydia Odrada on Lumba TV. And he's just giving us an interesting point right now. He said he's looking at the number of people to hire him as the number one servant of the state. Let's look at it. What brought about the interest of wanting to be the number one servant of a state?
In fact, that was one of the reasons why, when I concluded my program in United Kingdom, I've been privileged, as I told you earlier, I've been privileged to be a student in Belgium. I've been a student in United Kingdom. I grew up in Anambra, and I felt that there must be something. During all my years in the university, I was more considered as an activist. And I made my impact as an activist. And at this point, I think the best thing is to, instead of looking at it from the outside, I want to get to the inside, and in serving Anambra State, to show that activism with my actions. Like what I did in FCT, we were at 6 commissioners then, and my performance was considered unprecedented in the history of Public Complaints Commission. So
wow.
I believe that if I move to Anambra, I lived all my life before my call to buy in Anambra State.
And so you feel you know the people, you know the name.
I know what the problems are.
Okay.
I know what the problems are. I'm not coming to, I'm not coming to tell them, theories of what should be done. In my discussions with Anambra, I'm telling them practically practical steps that we need to take to get a few things right in Anambra.
All right, here's a few questions. First, as an activist, you said you were an activist during your university days and in the course of going to school. Don't you think some people might also want to come up with the name activist and then hamper what you have for the state.
Well, Obunike Ohaegbu is
Are
an
you there?
activist. As an undergraduate, I was an activist. For 4 years, I was a senior legislative aide in the National Assembly. So I've moved from the field of, I wouldn't say idealism, to where I had practical experience of how things are done, how Nigeria is governed, what are the things that should be done from the legislative perspective. From the legislative
Okay.
perspective. Then, after that 4 years, I had the opportunity to be a chief executive of a federal government agency. I then had my training and the experience. I worked as a chief executive of a government agency from the executive perspective. From the executive perspective. After that, I went back to the National Assembly where I was still legislative aide to the former Deputy Speaker of the House of Reps. Another 4 years, where from my experience in the executive, I realized a few things that should be done in the legislature. And it reflected on the services I gave.
Okay.
And of course, as at that point, you could say I was hired to do services. So whatever I done was to the credit of my principal and people who consulted me.
Okay.
And as a lawyer,
All right.
I am trained to understand what is happening in the judiciary. It's not every day you have people with legislative, executive, and judiciary experience aspiring to be the chief executive of a state.
Okay, talking about aspiring to be the chief executive of the state, I did read up somewhere that you want to be a governor, and that was like years back. And it's pretty early, like you declared your intentions or you started making your intentions pretty early. Now, what would be the reason why you will announce your aspirations that early?
You see, that is what I think should be the right thing to be done. A situation, you see, we've had it over the years. You see people close to election year, you know nothing about them. They will come and bamboozle you with this, that, and all that. The impression is that, oh, politicians are criminals. You don't trust them. Such person has never expressed any opinion. His opinions are not known. Any opinion publicly, none at all. You don't know what he thinks. You don't know what he believes. You don't know his disposition to policies. You hire him. He comes and starts learning on the job. So I want in the Anambra to know. That was why I felt the Anambra should know.
So,
hello?
Yes, I'm still here with you. Can you hear
Sorry
me?
about the interruption. So
it's fine.
What I'm saying is that it's right. It's right to let people know on time.
Okay, just in case you joined us and you're wondering what's going on, well, we've got Obunike Ohaegbu Esquire. He is one of Anambra's
What you intend to do. People, that's not the right way to go. I think the best thing is for people to know whom you are.
Okay.
And that is the reason why I made my intention known quite on time.
Okay. All right. You said you made your intentions known quite early, so people will know you. But then another platform will have it that you needed to consult stakeholders, before the time. What stakeholders are there that you need to consult before the time for the elections?
Well, in politics, just like every other thing you do, there are people who are stakeholders. Somebody could be a stakeholder because he's involved politically, or probably because he will be impacted on in the state, or probably he's a leader of some sort. No two stakeholders are the same.
That's correct.
No two stakeholders are the same. So you need to find out from the business community what is actually going on and interact with them. You need to, discuss with the civil servants. You need to discuss with the religious leaders. You need to discuss with community leaders. You need to discuss with the political office holders, political leaders. Then you need to discuss with the common people, the ordinary people like me.
Very important.
Ordinary people like me. You need to discuss with them. You need to discuss with the youth, the widows, everybody involved. They need to know what you want to do. It's not a few days to the election, you bring up videos and buy your votes and buy your way out.
So,
and that's why I've been the narrative.
Being that you're already making consultations, do we target a campaign ongoing already? Or we should look forward to something else when is a season of campaigns for elections?
Well, I read law, I'm not a grammarian, so I wouldn't actually know the actual meaning of campaigns. I don't know the actual campaigns. But if the meaning, if it implies letting people know I'm interested in a particular position, look at what I want your support, and look at what I will be doing if I'm privileged to have that position. If that is the definition of campaigns, probably could say I'm being won. But if you have the opinion that ban has not been lifted by INEC, you could say that I'm consulting. Then when the time for campaign, when it gets to the time for campaign,
then you bring in the campaign profile.
But it's just for you to know that in every sector, I have complete idea of what I intend to do within the first 100 days.
Okay, now let's look at, so for your consultations, will you say you've gotten positive feedback or response from those you are consulting or from the people you have consulted so far?
At this point, I like being realistic. At this point, quite a few people will say, well, I'm going to trenches with you. Quite a few people will say, I will not be interested in this. A lot of people will, unless you are natural supporters, whether you campaign or not, there are people who will naturally
be with you.
Yeah, there are people who will naturally be with you. So unless you decide, unless you are talking about those ones, if not, majority of people, okay, I think what you said is right. You have a better idea. You have a good idea of what should be done, and the time is still, we still have time. Let's see how things pan out, and then see other people who will come out, who may come out, and then we'll take it from there. And of course, there are so many other issues, so many other things that may play out. But you continue. Your job is to continue to let people know. Somebody who probably today believes that you shouldn't may notice your consistency and your message in comparison with the other people who are interested, may believe that you are the right candidate.
Okay.
So until the certificate of return and on governorship election, the Supreme Court makes the final pronouncement. It's still work in progress.
Okay, still work in progress, people. If you just joined us, you are on Elomba TV, and you've got Lydia Oduada right here, and we've got a guest. We have Barrister Obunike Ohaegbu. He's been talking to us about his life, his goals, and his aspirations. And right now, we're looking at him being the governor of Anambra State, and we've got questions dropping, and the questions aren't stopping. I hope, Barrister, you are okay with questions. If we have some more coming for you.
That's why I'm here.
Barrister, are you still there? Good. I love this, barrister. Okay, let's say that you are the governor of Anambra State in the next coming election, and you're very good, sworn in, all going, and then you start having some agitation, like you said, you were at the forefront of agitation during Abacha days, and it's now. Let's bring it back to today. Will it be the same? How would you accommodate all of this if you are the governor of Anambra State? Because of the truth, we can't rule it out. There are points where it will creep in.
No, I didn't get your question correctly.
Okay.
The only,
You
the
said
only, the
during.
only thing I heard, the only thing I heard is that you said you love me, and I'm sure the Anambra will love me too.
Of course, they will love you because you are very open so far. You've given us a lot
That was the
about
only thing I
you.
heard. That was the
Okay.
only thing I heard.
All right. Okay, let's look at this. You are the governor of a number of states, and in an article I read about you, you say you bring innovative change to service delivery. Now let's bring it back home to a number of states. How will you apply this to the states to make sure that things go on better? Like we all know that Anambra is one of the eastern business hub in Nigeria. How will you improve business in Anambra State?
You know, your question, if you look at it, is basically asking me what I would do as the governor of Anambra State.
Yes, because I'm hoping that you will become the
If
governor of
we have,
Anambra
if we
State.
have specific, as your question is specific on business,
Yes.
just make the state conducive for businessmen.
Mm.
Just make
How?
the state conducive. How will I make the state conducive?
Mm-hmm.
I intend to, ensure. As a child, when I was in Okong, I was visiting newspapers, generator powers, quite a number of people there. What they do, or what they were doing there, was to go to India, buy mold, they call it molding or something, and you see them, cottage industry, in their homes, they are producing oil steel and things like that. As the governor of Anambra said, the first thing I will do is to have discussions with them.
Okay.
It will not be funded by the state. If you go and build an industrial park and get the traders to move in, you will have challenges. They have to be part of it. We will establish industrial parks. If you go to Nehru, I'm using Nehru as an example now.
All right.
Central Industries. It was very functional when I was in Okong. With so many people, if you come out very early in the morning from Okong, you will see people trooping to Nehru. Some are going to GOG Industries, some are going to Central. Why is it not happening now? They've all closed up. They've all closed shop. Central has closed shop. GOD is not functioning the way they used to. So the first thing I will do is to ensure we have industrial parks where the state will, of course, power is in the exclusive list. It's the federal government that can, give you power. But what we are going to do is that we will have independent power.
Okay.
And if you do it in a particular place, because you are not allowed to sell power, you cannot give it out, you cannot connect it to the national grid. So what we will do is to have industrial parks where we have power. I have a friend who is working for me on solar power. And for you to understand that I've been
All
trying
right.
this, I've had this in mind in the last 10 years. Either 5 or 6 years ago, I
That's
started
a
to
long
give a
time.
trial with my house. In my house, I have solar panels, very clean. And since before the solar panels, somebody who came back from London, I had 4 generators because every night you must have power to be able to sleep. But since I have those
Wow.
solar panels, I don't have problems with power.
Okay.
In fact, I've dashed out some of my generators. I've used them out because I've not used them for 2-3 years. In fact, if you go to my house now, it's only one big generator that I have. All these smaller generators, they say, oh, this one will carry one AC, this one will carry another AC and all that. I don't have them anymore because I don't need them. So
Wow.
how would we improve power in Anambra State is very key. Look at what our people did. There were efforts to frustrate them in Lagos, where they were staying in Dumata. As a secondary school student, I was going there on holidays. It was terrible, horrible. They decided to move to trade fair without any support from any government. They paid for every penny of the services, even the one they got from the federal government. The trade fair complex was not in use. They paid for it. They paid every cover. No assistance from the government. You can imagine when you provide such platform in Anambra State. Give them the opportunity, give them large expanse of land, provide basic amenities like roads, water, partner with them for power. If you have functional power, effective power, and the small industrial parks in Anambra, my sister, you'll be shocked at what will happen in the state. The businessman, you see, I was discussing with a friend of mine from Abia State. I said, I will assist you as the governor of Anambra State. I've been to Aba, and I saw the challenges the state. I'm giving you an example. I saw the challenges the state government, the Abia State government is having in managing Aba. And quite a number of the leaders of the association, those businessmen, are from Anambra. It's very simple.
Wow.
My brothers, I see the challenges you guys are having here. People who are making shoes, this and that. I have 20 hectares of land for you in Anambra. The state government will do the fencing, will put infrastructures like road and water, will partner to ensure we have electricity. Can't you come and take, and I will sell the land to them to recover the cost of those road constructions. That was what I said. It should be a partnership. I find I've discussed with some of them. They said they cannot wait a second to invest.
Wow.
Because if they need money, the state will use the state platform to get a bank to fund the project. If they need this one, a governor will fly to China to go and discuss with the machine to produce shoes and all that. As the governor of Anambra State, I will not do that because I will not be in the business of production of shoes. I will not go to China to take photographs. What I will do is I will put the structures on ground. Get them. If you can get the factories, instead of going to produce your shoes or whatever in China, get the factories down to Nigeria. I have a brother. He's selling tomatoes. You know that for the past 5 years, he has had a massive land in my community. He wants to build tomato factory. There is no road for trucks to have access to where he has land. And there is a federal government project for that bridge. It has been ongoing since 2009. And he couldn't, you can see that his company probably could have taken off since maybe 4 years ago. But he couldn't because that's what is expected to be done for that to take off. It's not within his capacity, it's what the government will do. And as the governor of Anambra State, those are exactly the things I will make sure I do. I will synchronize all the taxes. Nobody will be harassed in Anambra State. We have single treasury account. If you have any business, even if you want to do affidavit in Anambra State, you go and pay into the single treasury account and go to the judiciary.
Wow.
If you reduce,
so from what I see, you have it all figured out already. It's not like you're just coming to say, I want to be the governor of Anambra State. You have it all figured out how you want to handle particular issues to curb the menace and, of course, the problems or challenges that business people are having in Anambra State. You've mentioned roads, you've mentioned light and These are major issues. Now let's look at federal government projects. Like you did mention, there's a road that is stopping or is a major challenge to the tomato farmer who wants to go into production of tomato proper. Now, if you are the governor of Anambra State and you are having federal government projects that are going forward, how would you bridge the gap to make sure that things go as it ought to be?
You know, I told you earlier that I'll be a governor that has been privileged to have experience from the legislature, executive, and the judiciary. The first thing I will do is to ensure that I have fantastic relationship with the people who are represented in the Anambra State in the National Assembly. After 2 years as a governor, there will be no federal government project in Anambra State that will be abandoned. I know the enormity. I've been a consultant in the National Assembly. I know the enormity of the powers of the National Assembly as regards appropriation. I cannot be a governor that will not be in regular discussions with the people represented in the Anambra in the National Assembly, regularly, irrespective of party differences, because that will be for the benefit of the Anambra State. I can tell you that with little PR, I said PR, with little PR from a governor, the fact that a governor flies in from Oka, gets to the National Assembly, and for the members of the National Assembly from your state to have a sense of belonging, you will go through them, even if the Speaker or the Senate President is your personal friend. You go through the people from your state who are in the National Assembly, because if the leadership of the National Assembly discovers that they have fantastic relationship with their governors, it enhances their bargaining power with the National Assembly leadership in negotiations for everything. So if Ministry of Works doesn't do the road, I will fly into Anambra. I said, the road you are doing from Nobi to Oketiti, that I'm doing one from Oto down to Amici, and I want to get connected to that road. Please, is there anything you can do there, Honorable Minister of Works? No governor will step into it. First of all, you start with the National Assembly. If you start with the National Assembly to ensure that it's appropriated for, if you get the National Assembly to make sure that it's appropriated for,
are you there?
I'm here. I don't know what is happening.
I can hear you.
Okay, I think there was an intruder. So what I'm saying
Can
is
you hear
that
me?
you want to have good relationship with the National Assembly. Your state, there will always be appropriation. All federal, and there's something I will do as the governor of Anambra State. You are the governor. If you are the governor, you don't have to start contesting with what others, their positions. There are certain things you shouldn't do. So if you're a member of the National Assembly, I will call all of them, come, all of you come, please. Your zonal intervention. Your zonal intervention for 2022, how much is it for each member House of Rep? 15 million. Okay, 15 million. What do you intend to do with 15 million? I want to do solar lights. Solar lights, okay. Jude, from the other federal constituency, what do you want to do? 15 million. What if we take solar light from this year, the beginning of this year, local government to another local government, then get your funds, synchronize your funds. The state government will do we map up the difference so that we'll make sure that we have solar light connecting the two local governments, connecting the two federal constituencies. I said, when we finish, advertise, let the people know that you are doing it. I will come when the federal government, they will come and commission it. Claim it. What do you want to do? You want to do intervention on a road. Okay, you are getting how much for 5 kilometer road? That 5-kilometer road will not be enough. So what you will do, instead of getting that road for completion of that road, why don't you get that road for doing the drainage, cut the roads? From my investigation, asphalt that will cover a kilometer of road is about 10 million naira. So get your zonal intervention, cut the roads, stabilize the roads, put the gutters, and the state government will intervene and assist you with the asphalt. Irrespective of party affiliation, irrespective of party differences, you need to work with everybody. For instance, what am I doing with your local government funds? People are interested in what is happening in the state because nothing is happening in the local government. You reduce the pressure on you as a governor by ensuring that the local governments are very functional.
I know that.
And that is the only way people can grow.
Wow.
That's the only way people can grow. If you see, okay, let me give you an example. In Enugu State, quite a number of people who are playing big from Enugu at the national level were once local government chairmen, councillors, commissioners, and all that. You don't have such growth in Anambra. People run for local government election without an election for 15 years, 5 years, 10 years. Some people die aspiring to be councillors. Therefore, when I was growing up, we had then a local government chairman. I think his name was Richard. His name was Richard. Okay. You will see massive work. He was working everywhere. You will feel his presence. Let me tell you, if any local government, a lot of people will prefer, if any local government is getting between 50 to 150 million every month, a lot of people will not care what is happening in Agoka. Every community, every local government will know the resources that are coming to their local government. You will see the local government chairman will work for their state, for their local governments. Then areas they will collaborate with the state government. They will collaborate. You go to Anambra State, most areas in Anambra State is there. Most areas are dirty, very dirty. What are you going to do about it? As a child who grew up in Oko, there are days you'll be going to school, you will see women clearing the roadside bushes and all that. They were hired by the local government. You will see people cutting culverts. They were hired by the local government. The local government in Anambra State, they don't have the capacity to do that now. What do you need the funds for? When you are busy creating jobs, you are busy dealing with building industrial parks in collaboration with businessmen, and Anambra people have people who will do that. That is the truth. The other day I saw Kosharis in Cross River. Yes, he has an investment in rice production in Anambra. But the truth is that by the time you finish with our businessmen, those people who carry $20,000 go to China, sent to Chinese, 4 months, the goods have not arrived. When they arrive, they will spend years, months in port. If they understand that with less than $5,000 instead of $5,000, they can produce, they can do chips, and within 3 months in Anambra, they will make ×2 of that. As we speak today, if you go to anywhere in Anambra State to eat point and kill, you know what they call point and kill, this fish. 70% of that fish you eat in Anambra State come from the southwest. If you buy a broiler or an old layers in Anambra, the possibility of that coming from the southwest is 7/10 as we speak today in Anambra State. We can't continue that way. Of course, you can tell me that what is his name? Zuckerberg is not a farmer. If you have an ICT industrial park, you'll be shocked at what the Anambra will do. And as I said, you still don't have to put Anambra State funds on the platform.
We see an aspirant that's so ready and planned. He's organized and has everything in place ready. All he wants is the mantle of leadership, and then the state will be up and running. Okay, let's go further some more. It is a known fact that if you go to Anambra Onitsha, you have to be very careful in some locations, otherwise you lose some things. Okay, people steal, some pickpockets, a lot of things go on in Anambra. How would you tackle this? Like the area boys, they are common in parks around Anambra State. How would you be able to curb this?
You see, I have one. I have two approaches to that. Job creation. By
Okay.
the time I'm getting those industrial parks functional and getting, getting businesses working very well, because as I was growing up, I knew then that most of our brothers in the north, people from Cameroon, they were coming to buy good from Nigeria and Onitsha. Every day you see vehicles moving from Onitsha to this thing, to Benue, going to the north. Nobody will do that if the atmosphere is not conducive. Yes, what is being done to us in the Igbo, that is perception that what is being done to us is that the lot is being done against us. But I believe that what we are doing ourselves, what we are doing to ourselves, are far more.
It's more.
Yes, a lot more. So with job creation, you will naturally take care of quite a number of some of these things. And of course, I will decongest Onitsha. I will decongest Onitsha. Is if you have been to a lot of markets, you will see that what you have in Onitsha is not acceptable. So what I will do to ensure that most of those sectors, they move out from where they are. There will be massive reconstruction of that area. A lot of things will be done. We'll open up the roads. What we have to bring down, we'll bring down. But those businessmen, in partnership with the state, will move to other locations where you have proper markets. If I say proper market, I mean proper market. If you have entered into, I don't know what they call Bongoro, they call it Bongoro in Onitsha, that big building.
Okay.
By there, if Mr. COVID-19 gets there, people will. It's not.
It will be massive.
It's too massive.
Wow.
And you can't even drive to the place. I'm sure the people who are there are not happy. I've been championing that the only solution to the traffic challenges you are having around Apapa and the congestion in the Apapa port is for the federal government to decongest the Apapa port. And the best way to decongest the Apapa port is to make the ports in the eastern area functional, like One Port, Warri Port, and Port Harcourt Port. And then ensure that Onitsha Inland Port is functional, so that you can decongest Apapa port and those ports in Lagos. So if I should be championing that for the Apapa port, obviously that will explain to you that I understand that the best way to ensure that areas like Onitsha is decongested is to lift some of those activities that are happening there and relocate them. When you relocate them, for instance, if you are going to Onitsha now to buy spare parts, you know where to go.
Yes.
So we'll have a situation where if you want to buy shoes and clothes, you know where the market is. You go straight to that place. We're secured. Fantastic environment. Very neat environment. Nobody hates bad good environment. Everybody likes good environment.
We all do.
Passive space. Okay. See, I wouldn't know if you have been to the trade fair. What our people did in the trade fair, Lagos. If we have that about 4 or 5 in Anambra State, Onitsha will naturally be decongested. And I'm repeating it so that nobody will misunderstand me. I will not build that as the governor of Anambra State.
Okay.
The only thing I will do, I will get the land in collaboration with them. They will invest. If they need funding, get a bank that will be involved in the funding. I will provide infrastructure as the governor of Anambra State. The infrastructure I will provide is from the stipend they will pay for allocation. I will provide roads, I will do water, and together all of us will make sure we have power. If we have power in those clusters, you'll be shocked at what will happen in Anambra State.
That's very
And
correct.
the state funds will not be that much in
go
it.
into. We see an aspirant so prepared, right? Like the roadmap is all set out, and all he needs is just going into our face. All right, people, just in case you're thinking what's going on, what's happening right here, this is Elumba TV, and you've got Lydia Aduada, and she's hosting our very own indigene of Anambra State. He is none other than Obunike Ohaegbu Esquire. He's been giving us mirroring himself, and he's told us a lot about him. I'm sure you out there, you want to know something, you've got a question for him. It's okay, drop it in the comment section, ask your questions, and it will be read out for him to answer as we're about coming to an end. But before we call it a day on this session, let's quickly look at the Anambra people. You know, there are people who are at the lower part of it, and they are struggling and living from hand to mouth. You've said you'd make a job available. How do you go down to the grassroots, to the people in the villages that they don't have access to town, or they are not in town? How do you intend curbing poverty, or eradicating poverty, so to say, or make it come down to its barest minimum? I can't get you anymore. Are you there? I can't hear you. I see you talking, but I don't hear you. I can't hear. Your mic is mute. Unmute your mic, please. Okay. Yes, you're back.
You will agree with me that within the first 2 years, if I'm privileged to be sworn in as the governor of Anambra State, Anambra State is more like the construction site. It comes with something. Massive job. Who are those people who are going to, have you been to a massive construction site? Some people are selling kunu there, some are selling chop one, some are selling buns, some are selling food. There will be massive job creation. You see, those people, Anambra State, we have centers where people are going to be trained.
Okay.
All these artisans. If you are from Anambra State, you find out that if you want to do POP now, the chances of getting Anambra to do it for you is very slim. It's most likely that you get somebody from Cotonou, from Niger, or from Benin. Most difficult to see Anambra to do POP for you. Very difficult to see Anambra to do ties for you. Very difficult to see Anambra even do window food. You see, I'm saying these things because I've been involved.
Okay.
I'm already almost every 2 years, I have cause to go to Anambra, canvass for votes, talk to people, see what is happening. Move around the state, listen to people, get their feedbacks. These are their responses and their desires. You could say are part of the things that are motivating me to go into this business.
All right, we see you really are motivated to elevate the Anambra people. Now we have questions coming here. I lost that question. Can you bring it back again, please? Okay, I think the question has to do with. Okay. Okay, so Barrister, please. The question is, considering the caliber of people that have indicated interest in Anambra governorship contests, how do you rate your chances?
Very hard.
Wow, I see the confidence.
Let me tell you. Let me
Okay.
tell you. When I was growing up, my grandmother, who I told you was from Navy,
Mm-hmm.
she had she was training. You know, it's not ram, the sheep,
Okay.
sheep.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you know, whenever you look at them, they will just throw their eyes by this. So, as a child, I got used to seeing things that open eyes, and I am no longer scared about it. The most important thing is the decision of Anambra. We are going to talk to Anambra. I'm talking to Anambra as one of them. The majority of the people who are going to vote, majority of the people who are going to be led, are in the same class with me.
Mm.
Do you understand
Okay.
me? We don't want people, they will know that it's better with me than people who have no touch, who have lost touch with what is happening in Anambra.
Wow.
People who will try to learn which area is central, which area is Anambra North, just because they want to run for election and they have money to spend. And don't get me wrong, you know, whatever
Okay.
somebody is doing, whatever somebody is doing, the person gets experience from doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Getting interested in what is happening in Anambra State, going to Anambra State, campaigning in Anambra State, at least since my university days, I've always been involved in political activities in Anambra State. People come and tell you, oh, don't mind politicians, they are criminals. Those people are the bigger criminals. So somebody who has always been there understands what the problem is. You cannot, you see, when you are not familiar with the terrain, people who teach you the terrain will teach you the terrain in such a way that, oh, don't talk to these people, they will kill you, don't talk to these people, they are the... No, I understand in the Anambra understand me. So I don't need somebody who will know in pretense to tell me what is happening in Anambra. I don't understand that. No, I just came in and then try to, you know, hijack the government. My government will be government of the people. I will have no business with Abuja except if I'm coming for physical trip. I will come and go back. If I become the governor of Anambra State, my children will be schooling in public school in Anambra State.
Wow. This is really, really interesting. People, you will agree with me that it's been an interesting time right here with Barrister Ohaegbu Obunike, who's been talking to us about himself, how he started and how he got here, and of course his aspirations for the next elections as the governor of Anambra State. And just before we call it a wrap, we have one more question. You know, you've given us a lot. You've told us from our conversation, we now know that you have good intentions for the state and you want to take the state forward to higher level. Now, don't you think it's pretty early for you to divulge so much information to the masses?
At some point, I was thinking that people could copy, but if you copy,
I thought so too.
yeah, if people listen to you and copy what you are saying, it's not they are saying that to win an election. So nothing will excite me more to see somebody, you know, who has copied me talking, because I know he cannot put in practice what he's saying.
That of course is the difference between the copier and the original.
I believe I owe the Anambra the responsibility to tell them what I want to do, and I have to start early. A lot of people are saying, you know, this, you know, with a lot of big grammar, that is not tell us what you are going to do practically. The Anambra do not want me to speak big grammar for them to understand that I know all the economic indices. What would I do? For instance, I went to if you talk about health sector, just that this is not a platform for campaigns. The major thing I discovered from the Anambra State health sector is that they're not properly, all the hospitals are not being properly managed.
That is another sector that really needs attention.
No hospital in Anambra State is being managed as a hospital. A lot of the hospitals, if not all of them, do not have accountants. So how do they manage the funds? Most of them is, you have doctors as sole administrators and the CND. They only come the days they have, what is it called? If they are not working, they won't come. And when they are not on duty, the management of the hospital is not on duty. There's nothing you can do about it. There are people who are trained to manage hospitals.
Yes.
And that will involve a lot of people, including the doctors, the nurses. Anambra State doctors are the least paid in the state, in the federation. Verify it.
Wow.
I have a friend who got employed by the Anambra State Civil Service for 8 years. I think he has gotten only one promotion. There are so many things that we need to do. There are so many things we need to do. The hospitals be managed by proper people who are trained. Every day you prepare to go to hospital to manage the hospital, nothing more. You're not going to see patients. You're not going to, it's not your business to give chloroquine, to give injections. Your business is to make sure that those people are supposed to do that, do their work. There are people who are trained to manage hospitals. They are not the ones managing hospitals in Anambra State. There are so many things to be done, my sister.
Wow.
Get to the bridge,
you cross it. Thank you so much. People, I really had an interesting time right here with our barrister, and he's talked to us a lot. But barrister, just before we call it a wrap and step out of the session, what advice will you give to the youth of the nation, not just Anambra this time? Let's look at your advice to Nigerian youth.
The first thing I will let them know is that the future is in their hands. They should do less of, fighting for the politicians, inheriting the enemies of the politicians. The politicians always have where they meet. Focus on what you should do for your people. They should make themselves available for service to humanity. They should be involved in governance. They should stop people who hire them, pay them stipend. If you are paying somebody 20,000, 30,000 every month to insult people on social media, if the person you are doing that work for, if he loses his job, of course you look for another person that will pay 30,000, that will pay you 30,000, because that is not sustainable.
Yeah, that's correct.
So I'm telling them to look beyond that. I'm going to run the cheapest campaign in Anambra State, and I'm going to win the election, and that will set a standard for the campaigns. So I'm calling the youth to come and work with me, calling the youth to support one of theirs. I'm not a small boy, but so far it seems that I'm the youngest among the people who want to be the governors of Anambra State. Some of them are old enough to be my father. So
wow.
we all need to come together. Let the youth be focused. The youth in other climes are running the nations, not running social media platforms for politicians.
That's interesting. Thank you so much for this wonderful advice. Youth should make sure they do things that will move them forward, that will give them good lives. Thank you so much, Barrister, for coming around. Thank you so much. We do appreciate your time here with us. It's been a wonderful one. We do appreciate you, and we say thank you so much from Elumba TV. It's an honor to have you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
And every other person who's been viewing from Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube channels, we do appreciate you. Without you, there wouldn't be us right here. Thank you so much for staying there. And you know how Elumba TV does it. We always bring you interesting conversations that you'd love. Do not stop following the handles on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube for more on Elumba TV. From all of us here at Elumba TV, we say thank you so much and have yourselves a splendid day. Bye now.